Ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again. It is another edition of the Tailgate Committee, your new favorite college football podcast, the number one college football podcast in the world, if you don't Google it. We are here. My name's Andy Hopper. That's Tom Scavetta. I'm here with Noah Dibler as well. The weekly crew is back. I guess it's technically week 16 of the college football season. We are going to jump in to a conference championship recap. We're going to talk about the championship games, and the CFP bracket is here. There has been a ton of reaction. We'll just say a ton of reaction, whether negative or positive. People are throwing out their takes. We are going to give ours on the way the committee decided to field this tournament. We're going to talk Army Navy, and we have a rapid fire incoming, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's 36 bowl games that are not the CFP games. We're rapid fire picking all of them on this show today. Fuck it, we'll do it live. All right. First of all, we need to get into some breaking news on the Tailgate Committee. This just came across the desk. Like an hour before we started recording, boys? 2 hours before we started recording. Sherrone Moore has been fired by Michigan. He will no longer be the head coach of the Wolverines. He was fired with cause for an alleged inappropriate relationship with a staffer. Not the news that we were expecting to come across the desk today. I think there have been some rumblings and some rumors of stuff like this that have been, kind of matriculating in the past couple of weeks. But now it all comes to a head, and Sherrone Moore is gone, and Michigan's looking for a new head coach really, really late in the cycle. So what we're going to do here, just a couple minutes, where does Michigan even go from here? Tom, there was a name you said before we started recording that I thought was kind of interesting, and none of us have really looked into this. I know I haven't. This is all kind of coming from the dome, right? We're just shooting from the hip here. Who the hell does Michigan hire as their next head coach?
Yeah, I mean, first off, very unfortunate news for the Wolverines faithful. You never want to see this happen, even to your arch rival in college football. Not good for him. I wish everybody in that organization all the best moving forward. This is a very tough spot to be in for the AD. Some major names are going to be tossed around, of course, like the Brian Kellys, the John Harbaughs. I, for one, don't think it's going to be either of those guys without doing any research. So please don't take this to the grave. But I think Jesse Minter might be the default hire here, the current LA Chargers defensive coordinator. This is a young, hot name who is rising in the ranks for potential NFL head coach openings this season. We saw his defense force the Philadelphia Eagles, defending Super Bowl champion Eagles, by the way, to commit 5 turnovers on Monday Night Football. And he was part of the 2023 National Championship staff. He was part of Jim Harbaugh's staff. He went over with him to LA. He's cut his teeth as an assistant over the years. He's now the Chargers defensive coordinator. I think he's going to get some NFL head coach interviews, but I think he's worth a look, guys. I don't know if this is like the best hire, but this is the first name that comes to mind that might not be the home run, right? This is like, oh, this guy's been here. He knows the program. It's late in the game. There's not many good options left unless you want to execute your players. This is the guy for me, Jesse Minter, and not Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I see what you did there. I like that. Noah, is there any name that really sticks out to you here? Like, this is a big time job in college football.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest. There's not a lot I can think of, and I think that's kind of the problem that they had to fire. First of all, I understand why they fired him. Obviously, you can't be doing stuff like that within a program, right? And when I saw he got fired without knowing any of the details, that was kind of my first thought, right? Like, they had a pretty good season this year, so you had to know there was something else to it. for why they let him go. But the fact they've let him go, I mean, guys, last week we were just talking about what the hell is Penn State going to do?
Right.
We had that debate about who they would hire, how a lot of the choices were gone. They hired Matt Campbell, which is an interesting hire, but now there's even less options for a program like Michigan. So, I mean, like you said, Andy, this only happened like an hour ago. It's kind of hard for us to think potential candidates this early. Brian Kelly was the first guy who popped into my mind just because he's the only, veteran long-term coach that I could think of that is currently out of a job like that. Um, but I mean, maybe they could have a higher in program. I don't know. I saw their interim is Bill Pogge, so we'll see what they do with him in the bowl games. But it's just an unfortunate situation, and it goes to show, man, it doesn't matter, how rich you are, how good a job you are. Nothing can stop someone from being a fucking idiot, and that's what Sherrone Moore is, plain and simple.
Absolutely. Not a good look for him, not a good look for Michigan. But at Michigan, you can cheat on the football field, but nowhere else, apparently. So I just Googled Michigan head coaching candidates, and there is already an article from ESPN. Eli Letterman, Max Olson, and Adam Rittenberg all contributing on this, and they have 5 candidates. Top one, Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer. I've heard this as well, kind of this name being floated out as one that they are very, very high on. Obviously, if he is at Alabama right now, so it's kind of like, man, Alabama, Michigan, 2 titans of college football. Neither of them a bad job, but he's got Bama in the college football playoff. The thought is maybe an early exit, and he starts thinking, what if about Ann Arbor? Certainly you'd listen. Tom, you're right on it. Los Angeles Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, the second name mentioned on this list. Washington coach Jed Fish is on the list as well. Duke coach Manny Diaz. I think that would be a very, very underwhelming hire. I know he just won the ACC title with Duke. And Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator Tommy Rees listed as a candidate, an Irish boy. Tommy, you like him. But of those names, couple interesting ones. I think how quickly does Kalen DeBoer tell him no is what we watch for here. But that is our quick Sherrone Moore update. We had some breaking news. We felt like it was pretty worthy of us at least mentioning it. We don't need to get into all the nitty-gritty and all the details about it, but figured it would be a good opportunity to talk Michigan and where the hell they go from here. So let's go to our conference championship recap. Huge weekend of college football last week. We don't have to get into every game. I think we kind of do a little roundtable here. Noah, I'll start with you. Surely UGA was the big one for you. What really stood out to you from this conference championship weekend?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, I think, it was a great result. I mean, I'd say the first standout for me was I was really not expecting it to be that convincing. I thought it'd be another close game, and well, I did pick Alabama to win the game by 4, I believe I said. If Georgia won the game, I thought it'd be that type of game, 3 to 4 point game decided in the fourth quarter. And this game was decided by halftime, pretty much, putting it generously. The score was 28-7. And I'm gonna be honest, guys. Georgia took their foot off the gas. I think with the way they were playing, they could have scored 40 plus if they really wanted to. Alabama was never in this game. Georgia dominated the trenches on both sides of the football. Gunnar Stockton, he didn't have a ton of yards, but he was very efficient, guys. He had 3 touchdowns, very accurate. We didn't have a major, running game, but we got the big runs we needed to, like that Nate Frazier touchdown in the third quarter, I believe was when that one was scored. Zachariah Branch had the dagger touchdown with a sick juke move, by the way, inside the 10-yard line to score and put the game to bed. But I think the most impressive thing for me, guys, was the defense. I mean, Ty Simpson completed less than 50% in this game. We all know what a good streak he's been almost this season. Big interception on a pass that was just really not there. I think it might have deflected off the receiver's hands as well, but it went right into the hands of one of our guys. So that was good. But the biggest takeaway defensively, guys, has to be the rush defense. -3 yards total. Now I know that includes the sack yardage, right? But even if you take that away, Daniel Hill, 4 carries, 11 yards. AK Deer, 3 carries, 10 yards. They just did absolutely nothing running the football. And, you know, when you're playing a defense like that, that is not a recipe for success. And one last thing I would say as well, I saw an interesting clip um, earlier. I actually shared it with you guys in the group chat where they were talking about how this is kind of what those old Clemson teams used to do when they were competing in the CFP. How, you know, they might not look amazing early in the year. They'd have a few of those scares, maybe even drop a game. But then as it got towards the end of the season, they would kind of turn it on. And I think that's what we've been seeing from this UGA team lately. They've been turning it on at the right time. I was amazed they won this game like this, guys. I was very happy to see it, though. You know, this is always a nerve biting game for us. So to see them go out and, you know, for a team they usually struggle against, win by 21 points, it was really impressive. And by the way, one final thing, can I just say, on the only touchdown that Alabama scored, that referee needs to get a hold of himself. He literally blocked one of our fucking defenders who was closest to the guy. Not using that as an excuse, but come on, man. You got to do better than that.
I mean, you're not wrong, man. Absolute domination from the Bulldogs. What did Alabama have? -3 rush yards. Like, they couldn't do anything offensively. Ernie Johnson was right in the pregame. He said Alabama will score a touchdown late to cut the deficit to 17. Go Dogs. And he was pretty close with his analysis there. So Georgia just dominates Bama 28-7. You had Indiana 13, Ohio State 10. Duke came to the party and really spoiled it for UVA 27-20 in overtime. JMU took care of business 31-14. Tulane 34-21 over North Texas to punch their ticket. Tom, let's talk about the other big one. Let's talk about number 1 versus number 2, Indiana, Ohio State. I'd love to get your takeaway from this game. Just a gritty defensive battle. We saw a couple mistakes, from both teams. We saw some missed kicks in the game, and none of us picked them. Indiana gets the win.
I'll start off by saying your 2025 Heisman winner is Fernando Mendoza. Not who I want, but who I think. Obviously, I want it to be Jeremiah Love. But Fernando Mendoza is the quarterback on the best team right now, currently in the country. But it's interesting, right? Indiana's had a long road this season. They've had some shaky games, right? The Penn State game, they were at risk there. There were a couple others that were too close to call for most throughout. But ending their Big Ten title drought is huge. What Kurt Cignetti has done with this program in just 2 seasons, right? Bringing them, basically, they're one of the worst college football programs of all time. And being number 1 in the freaking country just 2 years later, give this man Coach of the Year. Just give Indiana all the awards this season. And I am so happy for starting center Pat Coogan. Played for us in the national champ. He spent 4 years at Notre Dame, transfers to Indiana, as Andy loves to say, the great state of Indiana. Look, the Hoosiers defense, a pure example of what complementary football really is. 5 sacks, a couple from Isaiah Jones. Lewis Moore had a big pick off Julian Sand. And it was interesting, right? I think the game plan throughout, it wasn't exactly contain Jeremiah Love. It was stop the run and keep them behind the sticks. And they did that magically. I was very impressed. Jeremiah Smith still had his cut of targets. He had 8 catches for 144 yards. But, all in all, Indiana ending this drought and playing complementary football at an elite rate. This is what you call a meat and potatoes type of game. A 13-10. This is my type of game. Boring, low scoring, run it through your mouth, punch them in the gut. First Big Ten championship since 1967. Nearly 50 years in the making. Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers.
Congrats to the Hoosiers for sure. Been a long time since they won their last title, and it's cool to watch those droughts get ended like that, and just what it means to these fans the players, and obviously Sig. You know, he was walking on the field. He looked pissed off that they just won the Big Ten title. They only won 13-10. But you said it, 5 sacks. What this team is able to do, putting pressure on the quarterback, is second to none in college football this year. I mean, look at what they did against Oregon. They were able to get after Dante Moore, and then they're able to get after Sayin. And these are 2 offensive lines that are elite, guys, that they are able to scheme and get through. They did lose a big piece on their defensive line. Which one was it? I think it was Hall. Is that right? Indiana football DL hurt. Stephen Daly. I'm not even close. So he hurt himself celebrating the win with fans, and like a freak accident, possibly out for the season. So prayers up to Stephen Daly, and you hope he is okay. And he's a big piece of their D-line, so we'll see how they respond. But I mean, Curt Cignetti, man, I believe he is. I mean, he was coach of the year last year. Indiana, when he took the job, all-time losingest program in college football. I think them and Northwestern have kind of flip-flopped with that. I think Rutgers is a close third, by the way. So Big Ten, baby. And, I mean, he brought over a bunch of guys from JMU. He's got a bunch of 3-star recruits. I think they have 7 4-star recruits on the roster. And that's been such a big thing in college football now, right? It always has been. It's your recruiting class, the blue chips. You want as many 5-stars as possible. There's something to be said for being able to evaluate talent and know what is going to work for your system. And that is what Curt Cignetti has been able to, and his staff have been able to do at an incredibly high level. They don't care how many stars you have. If you can come in and play, you can play. So hat tip to the Indiana Hoosiers. One more game. I don't think I mentioned this one earlier. TTU 34, BYU 7. Kind of a laugher. In this one, Texas Tech gets another lopsided win over the Cougs. Duke throws everything into chaos. We mentioned that one earlier. Just a very, very entertaining conference championship week. And that has all led to kind of a clusterfuck, really, boys. And the college football playoff bracket has been revealed. And there have been some takes. There have been some agreements. There have been some disagreements. Whether we like it or not, this is the bracket. But let's talk about it. And let's talk about what we like about it. Let's talk about what we dislike about it. Where do we start? Where do we start? I mean, there's a lot that has been said about the committee. I think more so with the committee, it's just been maybe not so much the result, but the process and the way they kind of looked at things has been the biggest cause for concern. So Indiana gets number 1 seed. You have Ohio State at 2, Texas Tech at, Georgia at 3, Texas Tech at 4. So those are your first round buys. Playing in the first round, you have Bama going to Oklahoma. JMU is going to Eugene to play Oregon. Miami is taking on Texas A&M at Kyle Field. An early, noon Eastern start for that one. And then you have Tulane and a rematch with Ole Miss. So, Noah, I want to start with you. What did the committee get right? What did they get wrong? I'd just love to get your take on the bracket and, the kind of the whole discourse from this weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is going to get very controversial very fast. So, hopefully the viewers are ready for this. But what did they get right? Obviously, they got number 1 right. That's pretty self-explanatory. I can understand why they had Ohio State over Georgia. I could have seen an argument for Georgia over them mainly because of the one of the big tiebreakers for the CFP guys is common opponents. How'd you do against common opponents? And one common opponent that these two had was Texas. Ohio State, in the first week of the season, beat Texas 14-7. What happened when UGA beat them? They won 35-10. Kind of a decent difference there now. But like I said, I don't have a major issue with it. I mean, it's kind of, what's it called? Scrapping at hairs, whatever the hell the term is. My mind is literally going blank on it right now. That's basically what that is. Texas Tech at number 4, I think is about right. Texas Tech, guys, this defense is just unbelievable. I mean, it's really showing how much investment that they put into their defense with NIL in the offseason. I think it's really paying off for them, but their offense is doing a good job as well. The rest of it, I mean, JMU and Tulane, those were the automatic bids, which has been another source of contention. Now, in my opinion, guys, I don't have a major issue with the automatic bids. I've seen a lot of people using that as kind of a reason to shit on the G5. Let me just say this. The main reason this looks so jarring isn't because of these two G5 schools. They didn't do anything wrong. The reason it looks so bad is because the ACC this year decided everyone was just going to be like, we suck ass so bad that somehow Duke, because, and by the way, ACC tiebreakers, I don't know what you're doing. You need to reevaluate this, because how can a 7-5 team make a conference championship game just because they went 6-2, had like a 5-way tie with way better teams than them? Credit to them, they did win. I will give them credit for that. I was really surprised they got that done. So well done to them. But yeah, this isn't the fault of these G5 schools, is what I'm saying, guys. The ACC had a stinker this year. But let's see. Yeah, I guess I'll just get it into the last two, right? So Miami over Notre Dame is the first one. This one I have issues with, but not necessarily because Miami got in over Notre Dame. I think, if they use the head-to-head, which, we know is one of their biggest tiebreakers, I think it makes sense from that front. The only issue I have with that, why did they have Miami consistently ranked behind Notre Dame like the last 4 or 5 weeks, and then at the very end decide to flip it? And from what I've read from some of the CFP guys, apparently the metrics between those two teams were so close to them that basically the only reason that they put Miami in was the head-to-head. And I'll just say this, man, Miami, congrats on making the CFP. But if your hope of winning the college football playoff rests on Carson Beck having to beat A&M and then Ohio State, I hope you guys enjoyed the earlier in the season, because that's not happening. Now let's get to the elephant in the room, which is Notre Dame. Now I have oh wow, I have a lot to say on this. There's been a lot of vitriol on both sides, by the way. I don't think either side is innocent from what I've seen with some of the reactions to this. Let me just say this. Some of the takes I have seen to basically excuse/ignore Alabama's loss to Georgia are absolutely nonsensical, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I have literally seen people say you should totally ignore the fact they lost to 28-7, because you can't punish a team for losing in a conference championship game. Actually, yes, you can. Why? Where is BYU in this graphic? Oh, I don't see them. That's because they absolutely got obliterated in their conference championship game, and they dropped completely out of the rankings. Another thing, by the way, even if we take out that loss, which I do not believe you should, I still believe that's stupid to do. What about the other two games? They lost to the number 8 team, who they have a rematch again in Oklahoma. And who was their other loss? That's right. It's good old Florida State. Not exactly what I would call a good loss by any means. And even, that's just even if we ignore the SEC championship game, guys. But even if it was just those two losses are still worse than Notre Dame's. I mean, their losses were to number 7 and number 10 by a combined 4 points. And then Notre Dame went on a 10-game winning streak. If it was based on run of play, Alabama went 2-2 down the stretch. Notre Dame went 10-0. So the major argument I could see, I wouldn't say it's the only argument, but the major argument I could see in favor of Alabama, right, is strength of schedule. They have had a really strong strength of schedule. The SEC schedule, obviously, but the fact they played Georgia twice. I also think the fact they beat Georgia earlier in the year, I think, was a big point for them in favor for the committee. They could say, oh, they're 1-1 against the number 3 team in the nation. If it had been something like, Georgia beat them twice and their third loss was against someone else, I think it might be a bit different. Now, the main issue I have with this isn't with Notre Dame missing. I mean, I do have my issues with it for reasons I just mentioned, but I guess, unfortunately, the reason why they missed, guys, whether it's fair or not, is because they don't play in a conference. The logic, whether we agree with it or not, I think was they don't want to feel like they're rewarding a team that doesn't play in a conference championship game and then punish Alabama because they played in one and they lost. Now, again, I think they should have punished Alabama. In my opinion, the fact they lost by 21 and didn't drop at all, I thought that was stupid. But Notre Dame, the only major issue I have, and we guys discussed this a few days ago, I think the decision to opt out of the bowl game is a horrible look. And I've seen this a few times in the past where teams get screwed, and I get it, you're frustrated and whatnot, but I think there's two ways to deal with it. And I'm going to bring up two examples, both with my Georgia Bulldogs. In 2018, and by the way, when I say these examples, I don't think they got screwed. I actually think the CFP made the right call to leave them out both of these times. I'm just using how they reacted to it. In 2018, they missed the CFP because they lost the SEC championship game to Alabama. How did they respond a few weeks later in the Sugar Bowl against Texas, guys? They laid down. They didn't do shit. They lost to a team they should have beaten, and they were too busy crying on Twitter about how they were victims and how the CFP totally screwed them. And then when the time came to show what they're made of, they laid down and died. 2023, Georgia goes 12-0. They lose the SEC championship game again to Alabama by a field goal. They play a few weeks later against FSU, and they win 63-3. Now, I know that was a game where FSU had 22 opt-outs. I understand that. But still, they went out. They did their business. They were pissed off, and they took it out on the team they played. I see a program like Clark Lee's Vanderbilt, where he comes out and says, we're playing this last game. This is a big opportunity for our guys. We missed because it was our fault. We didn't do enough, and we're going to go out there on the field and kind of do our thing. So when I saw the decision to opt out, I thought that was a really poor look. In my opinion, the best way to show you're pissed off, at the CFP, show the CFP that they got it wrong, isn't to, sit out and protest. I don't think that does anything except make you look bad to pretty much everyone else. The way to do it is go out there, play that bowl game, and, smack whoever you're playing. I assume it would have been BYU, right? Go out and beat BYU, 31-14 or something like that. And you say, oh, that's a really good Notre Dame team. They kind of got, the short end of the stick, especially if Alabama loses their first game. But there's nothing they can prove, guys, when they're at home on the couch, complaining that they didn't make it. So that's the major issue I had with this whole thing. I think the complaint over the automatic bids is overblown. I think usually, and by the way, one last thing I forgot to mention about that point as well. These blowouts do not just apply to Group 5 teams. We have seen plenty of blowouts involving Power 4 teams. Just last year, what did Tennessee do against Ohio State? Absolute blowout. What did Boise State do, who was number 3 in the nation? Had Ashton Jaunty, who was, the star of the entire season. They got smoked as well. Even a team like Georgia, they did not play great against Notre Dame, guys. They got pretty much killed from start to finish at the line of scrimmage. So this is not exclusive to Group 5 teams. When you have 12 teams, right, it's pretty inevitable. Most of those lower, like bottom 4 teams or whatever, they're not going to match up well against the bottom 4 or the top 4, in most cases. Like a team like Miami, for example, if they win their first game, do I expect them to be even remotely competitive with a team like Ohio State? No, I do not. Do I see either 6 or 11 being able to compete with Georgia? No, I do not. Do I see Oregon being able to compete with Texas Tech based on the run of play I've seen lately? Probably not. So that's not a Group 5 issue, guys. That can happen to a lot of teams. So I think that has been overblown. I do understand, the argument, if we added 4 more teams, teams like Notre Dame and Texas and Vandy would be in there, and it might be a better product. And I don't know. I see why they say that. At the same time, I think some of the blowouts we see are proof for what I believe is why there's 12 teams is too much. I think it should have been 6 or 8, but it doesn't matter. It's over and done with. But as for the rankings themselves, I think basically everything is okay except Alabama. I think Alabama's debatable. I can understand why they made it. I can understand why they wouldn't have made it. But yeah, I know that was long-winded, but there's a lot to say on something like this.
This is it's a big topic. This is what the sport's turned into, right? Is just a bunch of talking heads and politicking for certain teams and certain conferences. And, You know what? I like what you said about the G5 teams. They did nothing wrong. This is the system that was set up by the big boys, signed by every conference, signed by Notre Dame, signed by the G5. They were the fifth and sixth highest ranked conference champions. That's what it is. They didn't do anything wrong. You want to blame somebody? Blame the ACC for having 17 teams and needing their conference championship game to come down to the seventh tiebreaker to decide who's going to play in it. And Jim Phillips says today, yeah, we're going to take a look at our tiebreaker situation. Oh, you don't think you don't say. You don't say. This 12-team system was not set up for mega conferences. This was set up before the Pac-12 dissolved and was destroyed by these other teams that it's all a money grab. They're chasing after the next TV deal. ESPN's complicit in all of this shit too. Yeah, it's just really frustrating. You see, and it's all fucking Bud Elliott from the Cover 3 podcast called G5 versus Power 4 matchups literally a safety issue. What the fuck are you talking about? That was the most wild take I think I've heard. Where are a bunch of the stars of college football this year from? Transfers from fucking G5 schools. You don't think they can play? It is just ridiculous what they do to try to silence these guys, and they're going to try to change the system. They're blaming it on these G5 schools when they did nothing but win. Boys, tell me one sport, one league, anywhere where winning your conference doesn't get you a shot to win a national championship. This is the only division in football that's set up like this. The FCS has a 2014 playoff. So does Division II and Division III. If they win their conference championship, they're in. Does teams from every conference win every year? No. And to act like that the college football playoff is some fucking every game is competitive, every game is one score. Well, yeah, everybody wants every game to be one score and come down to the last second and have the highest TV ratings. That's not how it works. The average margin of victory in the fucking college football playoff is 14 points. Every game in the first round was not close last year. Indiana was getting beat 27-0 till the last 3 minutes by Notre Dame. And we want to act like Tennessee walked into the fucking Columbus and got their asses kicked.
And by the way, if I could just really quickly add to that, Andy, it's not just the first round as well. I think that's where it's most evident, but we've seen blowouts in later games too. I mean, most obvious example, Georgia TCU a few years ago. That was the quote-unquote national championship game. It was one of the biggest blowouts in bowl history. Last year, Notre Dame got behind pretty big in the championship game, had to make a decent comeback in the second half to try and make it more competitive. So it's not just a first round issue as well. Some of these matchups later can be a bit one-sided as well. But yeah, to just blame, two teams. And by the way,
it's ridiculous.
I think it's really unfair as well. Tulane deserved that win. They played great against North Texas. This was probably one of the biggest moments in their school's history, especially with how much they've struggled. Same for James Madison. The fact that they feel like they can't even enjoy this moment because, people are shitting on them. Blame it on the ACC teams for not being able to do enough. The reason they're not in. Blame it on Virginia for choking massively in the biggest game of their season.
The FSU and Clemson were picked to, potentially be playoff teams, and they're FSU's 5-7. Clemson went 6-6, 7-5. Like, blame these powerhouses that suck. It's not these G5 teams' fault. And on the Bama thing, they're the first team in college football playoff history to not fall at least one spot after losing a conference championship game. And Yurachek gets on there and says, oh, well, they already beat Georgia, so this game doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter that they had -3 yards rushing and they got laughed off the field. They didn't look like they deserved to even be there. That doesn't matter, but it matters for BYU. BYU should be just as mad as anybody right now. They won 11 games. They went to their conference championship, and their only 2 losses are to number 4. They have a better strength of record and strength of schedule than Miami and Notre Dame. It just how they and what are they doing, by the way? They're playing in the bowl game. So I'll get into that. Tom, I want to go to you because we've been talking for 15 minutes and look, man, this sucks. This really, really sucks for Notre Dame. I completely agree with you that they got hosed. And you said it, man. It's not the result, it's the process. You cannot tell an entire fan base, a university, a school, a team, and rank them ahead of somebody for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however much it was, and then just completely pull the rug from under them at the last second. So I understand why you guys are upset. I understand why Notre Dame is pissed. What the fuck? But I don't. Well, I'll get into my thoughts about the bowl game later. But I'd love to hear what you're thinking about the bracket and this whole situation.
Yeah, look, we don't have a problem with the teams that got in outside of Alabama. In my opinion, I know the AD came on and said otherwise, but say what you want. We were ranked to be one of the 5 to 7 teams that have a shot to win this whole thing this year. We go to bed Saturday night and we're minus 4,000 to make the CFP. We had a 99.5% chance. I mean, we've been saying this all year. Notre Dame deserved to make the CFP.
Yes.
All three of us have said that, but they didn't make it. I'm fine with seeds 1 through 5. I would have flip-flopped 6 and 7, but it is what it is. 8 is fine. 9 and 10, you could argue Miami at 10 is fine. Tulane and James Madison deserve to be in there, but the problem is this. How do you include the G5 but make sure you get the best 12 teams in there? I don't think we're at that stage yet, and I think the only solution to that is expanding. But then you'd have to expand it for the G5 as well. You look at Heisman finalist Diego Pavia, transfer from New Mexico State, made a living at Vanderbilt. Look at the road that he's taken. This is my thing with Miami. For 6 weeks, we were told that we were better than Miami. We were lied to. We had number 3 FPI. They had number 7 FPI. We had number 12 strength of record. They had number 14 strength of record. Everything was very, very close. Head-to-head should have mattered this entire time, not just on Sunday. We've been ranked over Miami for months by this committee. They played on August 31st. The teams are very different right now. I understand why you put them in based off the head-to-head, but all in all, it's not a good look when you undercut that. Hunter Yurachek, I have a problem with you personally. We somehow dropped 2 CFP ranking spots following a 49-20 win at Stanford and no 13th game, while Alabama gained 1 spot after a 27-20 win at Auburn and then a 28-7 loss to Georgia. We were penalized for a 3-point loss in week 1. Alabama's 14-point loss in week 1 to an ACC opponent, the garbage conference this year, didn't matter. It didn't matter. Also, let's talk about your team for a minute. Oh, yeah, by the way, you started the season 2-2 with losses to Ole Miss, who's in the CFP by 6 points. You lost to Ole Miss, who's in the CFP by 6 points, and you lost to Memphis by 1 point. What happened when you played Notre Dame? You lost 56-13. You led the CFP committee. We forced you to fire Sam Pittman. And they'd go on to lose. They lost to Tennessee by just 3 points. They lost to Texas A&M by just 3 points. But this blowout meant nothing to him personally. And I think part of it has to do with we made $42 million last year, making it to the CFP final. A lot of people were worried that, not to sound ignorant or anything, but there's a chance they could make a run again to potentially the semifinals this year. And that wouldn't be a good look. But remember when 10-2 and number 2 Auburn, who beat UGA and Alabama by double digits in the regular season, right? Lost to UGA in the SEC title game, 28-7. Doesn't that score sound familiar? They dropped 5 spots to number 7. Who replaced them? Alabama, who they beat 26-14 a week earlier. This is not a coincidence, guys. They are the only team in the CFP with the following: 3 losses, a loss to a 5-7 team, losing 2 of your last 4 games, losing your last game by 21 points. As you said, Noah and Andy, negative rushing yards in the SEC championship game. 100% Notre Dame was hosed. I was very unhappy about it. And realistically, they could destroy the ACC if they wanted. There's permanent damage that's been done here. You could sue for breach of anti-disparagement over the 2025 CFP sabotage. There's a partial member buyout that could take place. There's a buyout between $50 to $100 million. That's way less than a full member's buyout, by the way. And they could flip to a partial Big 10 or Big 12 deal in 2027. And that's a stronger path to the CFP than your asswipe conference right now. The Big 10 gets massive ratings, guys. And looking ahead,
the Big Ten. Hey, Tom, I'm sorry. The Big Ten's not playing on the CW. So that's all you need to know about that fucking joke of a
That's
conference.
Great. But the statement, and look, this is evolving over time, right? This is nothing personal against anybody on the committee. This is nothing. This is just facts. The way it looks is horrible. I mean, Notre Dame apparently, I read this, will be assured of making the CFP moving forward if it is ranked in the top 12 starting next year. And let's say if it gets expanded to 14 teams and there are more at-large berths added to the field from 7 to 9, right? Notre Dame is guaranteed if it is ranked 13th or better. And this was signed by CFP officials last spring. This was not like, oh, we got screwed over this year, let's do this now. No, this was in the works since last season. And as far as being independent, I am still pro-independent. Look, I understand you guys are not, but I think Notre Dame gets a lot of undeserved hate nationally because of who we are, right? It's the NBC contract. I grew up in New York City watching Notre Dame football every Saturday. One day, I want my kids and my family members to be able to experience the same thing. If we're not independent anymore and we join a conference, we might not be able to say that. There's a historic trajectory here. And no, it's not saying Notre Dame's better than anybody else. I think when we're told to join a conference, we will. My thing is this: can we join a conference and keep the NBC TV deal? Is that possible, or is that going to get in the way? I love being broadcasted every week. I could sit here and watch the games, no problem. They are a national powerhouse for that reason. Now, about the bowl game, I do agree with you guys, and I'll finish on this. The optics are bad, right? It shouldn't have happened. But I don't want to sit here and be compared to Vanderbilt, a team that is one of us, by the way. Vanderbilt was not lied to. We were lied to, and we reacted. Was it wrong? Sure. It doesn't look great, but I think there's more to this that we don't know. There is no way Marcus Freeman is afraid of competition. There is no way Marcus Freeman is saying, oh, we're too good to play BYU. That's not what it is. We were slandered for weeks on the fucking CFP rankings show. We were lied to our face. We were told, go home. And now a lot of people, and I'm sorry if this bothers you two, I love you guys to death, are saying Notre Dame is soft and childish for reacting to what ESPN did to them. I would prefer to play the football game, by the way. I'm with you guys on that. You convinced me on that.
You're a meat and potatoes guy.
I would prefer to play the football game. It is an awful look because it makes you think, oh, well, Notre Dame is being children over this when they don't get their way. No, it's not that. It's the fact that ESPN lied. We are getting back at them for this. They are losing money. Why would we want to be bashed by their commentators like we were throughout the process? Kirk Herbstreit said something very stiffy on Saturday night saying, oh, yeah, Miami is probably in. It's more Notre Dame getting measured against Alabama at this point. They knew on Saturday night Notre Dame was not making the fucking CFP playoff before Duke beat Virginia in the ACC title game. There's something very sniffy up their sleeve right there. And I'm mad. I'm really mad about this because this team was one of the 12 best fucking teams this season in the CFP. There is no way they should have been left out. They got hosed by the committee. It is, in my opinion, if I was a neutral fan, I'd be saying the same thing. It is unacceptable that you opted out of a bowl game that you should have played in, by the way. But at the same time, I don't agree with their decision to do it, but I respect their decision to do it. You can respect something without agreeing with it, right? And that's where I think it comes down to. That we have a difference of opinion on. I know I'm outnumbered there, but that's okay. I do agree with you guys, though. It is not a good look that they're not playing. They should 100% play, prove on the football field that you are better than BYU because you're not able to do that now. All in all, ESPN is projected to lose roughly $50 million in bowl game revenue. Why should we play them? Why? And this is the other side of the argument, and then I'll wrap up. Why should we let them earn money off of us after what they did to us? Right? BYU is the only other team that I think has an argument, and they're playing. That's why it looks better on them than it does us. Yeah, that's I'm mad. I could sit here and go on, but you guys know how I am. Brady Quinn said something very interesting. Bowl games not affiliated with the CFP playoff are destined to become a Pro Bowl. Fortunately, it is. I think as fans, it's different than as players. The bottom line is we were lied to. Move on.
Yeah.
Mad.
I get it. I totally get your side of it, Tom, and how you could be upset. I'm sure if our teams were in that position, we felt like we deserved it and we didn't get in, we'd be pretty pissed too. But I think the whole biggest takeaway, and it's not about being disrespectful to anybody, I just think it's just not a good look. And you said it, Tom. You agreed with us.
Mm-hmm.
It is very much, I didn't get my way, so I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. And whether that is what they're doing or not, that is just, from me, it's just what it looks like. It's like we're too good to play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is the top non-CFB bowl, by the way. But look, I just think it doesn't look good. For your university, I think it's for your players. Think about how many seniors are on Notre Dame that just found out that 2 weeks ago they played their last football game ever. They don't get an opportunity to go down and have fun. They don't get 15 extra practices. They don't get 3 more weeks of being a college football player. Their careers are now over. Your young guys who, again, you can use this as basically a double up spring practice. They said, we want to focus on 2026. Well, I think a great start in focusing on 2026 is getting your young guys that are going to be playing experience in practice, in a bowl game, in a postseason type environment, and the potential to eat an edible mascot on live TV. Obviously that part is a joke.
You might want to leave that part out. So yeah.
But no, it's very much, it's like, well, no, we're too good for that. Well, we beat the shit out of BYU. Well, you had the opportunity to play BYU. They should be just as mad as you guys are, and they're playing. I think it sets a dangerous precedent. I really do. This is a 10-2 team declining bowl bids in already an environment and a system where the bowl system as we know it is very close to feeling like it's gone, right? And this is something that's historic. The first bowl game was played in 1902, which would have, I believe it was called the East-West tournament or something like that, which would eventually evolve into the Rose Bowl. They've been playing bowl games for over 100 years. We know the national brand that Notre Dame is and how important they are to college football history. I would argue bowl games are just as important and a big fabric of what makes this sport so great. And for a school like that, which already, whether you guys like it or not, Tom, and I'm not saying this, already gets a lot of hate, already comes off as arrogant. It just very much came off as, man, this feels like we're too good. Oh, taking my ball and I'm going home. And it's like, I think of it as a dad, right? I got 2 kids. Would I ever teach them to just quit when you don't get your way? No. Would I want to send them to go play for a university, a coach that has that mantra? No. Do I think this is going to affect Notre Dame's recruiting and all that stuff? No. Not right away. But this is just the kind of shit that you start to think about, where I felt like it was just very arrogant. We're better than you. We're not playing in this bowl game. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's other teams that opted out. But I think they weren't 10-2. They're not very much in this situation.
It's fine.
And
Look, I don't mean to interject, but like,
no, go ahead, please.
I get it. I get it. However, the captains and the players did vote on this apparently. But where I disagree is we think the decision was not made, Andy, in my opinion, at least, saying that we're better than you and that's why we're not going to play. We know we're too good for this game.
Oh yeah,
that might have been what I was saying, or what I was saying was coming off the other day. But I don't think that's what Notre Dame is thinking, right? I don't think that's what they're thinking. I think they're trying to send a message to ESPN saying, yeah, we don't want to profit off of you. And they're sending a message to the ACC saying, don't fucking play the Notre Dame-Miami game on repeat for 48 hours during conference championship week. Like, they were very hurt by the ACC. Very hurt by the ACC.
Well, I do think Notre Dame. Noah. I think Notre Dame did send a message. The question is, I don't think they sent the message they believe they did. Because let's be honest, guys, if you're not a Notre Dame fan, how do you think the majority of people look at how Notre Dame has handled this? I don't think it's a good look for them. And look, I understand as players if you don't want to play right. You know what you can do then? You can do what every other player does in this situation when they don't want to play in a bowl game. You opt out, let the younger guys, the hungry freshmen that have barely played or whatever, they can get a chance and go in and play. But
it feels very short-sighted. The whole thing just feels short-sighted.
I think, Andy, you were the one who mentioned this. If FSU, after they missed the CFP when they were 13-0
conference champions,
played a bowl game, even though they had 22 opt-outs, I don't see any excuse for a team like Notre Dame to not. That's where I sit on it. I understand being pissed, but like I said, you can be pissed. Put your message out there on the field. You want to show the CFP got it wrong, go out and beat BYU 35-7. That is the way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree there. Before we get into Army Navy and our rapid fire, I do want to mention the ACC thing real quick, because the ACC got on their high horse and they were advocating for Miami, which, talk about this partnership with Notre Dame. They're a huge partner, Tom. There's no denying that. Miami's also a full member. So they know if Miami gets in, the entire conference is getting some of this money from the CFP. Whereas if it was Notre Dame, Notre Dame's keeping that money. So I think that has something to do with it. Another thing you said, which I don't agree with this, Tom. I agree with how you said it. I don't agree with the person that said this. That Juracek was like, well, there was no ACC representative. Well, tough shit. Their conference sucked. That's so.
It should have been us as their honorary rep, and it wasn't.
So I think that has something to do with it too. It was always kind of one shitstorm, right? Where we're not playing, and fuck the ACC. They've done irreparable damage. So and whether I agree with it or not,
didn't give a good reason.
Sure, and that's something that's
a good reason.
Yeah.
Actually, Andy, I know we've gone on for this really long. You actually just made me think of another point I didn't even remember until now, bashing the ACC. But last year, Clemson only made the CFP because of the automatic bid. They had 3 losses as well. So, for if the ACC is complaining because of these automatic bids, it saved your ass last season, dude. Clemson was barely a playoff team, and it showed because they lost almost immediately. Actually, I think they lost their first game, right? So.
Yeah, and SMU got blown out by Penn State. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and it goes back to the whole G5 thing. It's like, don't tell me it's going to be a better game. It's been historically not. It doesn't matter who plays.
Hot take. The American is better than the ACC right now.
Right now it is. Mm-hmm. Which is the Americans champion beat the ACC champion.
I mean, there were so many solid top teams in the American this year, guys.
USF. Memphis, Tulane,
Yes.
Navy.
I also would like
Texas.
to shout out JMU.
All better than Duke.
From the Sun Belt. I think they got every team in the Sun Belt $300,000 for making the playoff. This is program changing money for these guys. Some of these programs in the Sun Belt, their entire athletic department budget is $100,000. So it's like you see these guys on ESPN, the Paul Feinbaums and the Kirk Herbstreits that are like, and Nick Saban's all that don't want the G5 to have their spot at the table. Fuck you. Kirk Herbstreit's a clown, by the way. Kirk Herbstreit is an absolute clown. A shill for the SEC and Alabama. The way he was talking about Bama and BYU was ridiculous. Go ahead. Noah.
Hey, man, I just want to say, as the resident SEC fan, most of us do not like Paul Feinbaum or Kirk Herbstreit anyway. They do not represent us.
We don't claim. They don't claim him.
Yeah, we don't claim him.
He sucks, and we have nothing to complain about. We got hosed, dude. I mean, we were one of the 12. But how do we have nothing to complain about?
Yeah.
BYU and Notre Dame have every right to complain about it.
And I don't even know. I really don't know what changes it. If it's expansion, still, what I think is no matter how many teams you have, the first team out is always going to complain and say, we deserve to be in. So it doesn't really matter. But the current structure and the way these conferences are set up, there are too many teams. They cannot play everybody. You're not going to have the proper tiebreakers, and you're just going to have more of this shit and more yelling at the wall. But this, in the 12 years now of the college football playoff, this might be the most controversial committee. And, Hunter Yurachek, he can't even run Arkansas correctly. So I don't know why he is allowed to be running the CFP. And also, I don't think sitting athletic directors at any university should be on the college football playoff committee. I know his team will never have a fucking chance of making it, especially with Ryan Silverfield as your new head coach. But so he doesn't have to worry about that. But still, holy shit, guys, we could talk about this, I think, forever. Everybody made some really good points here. But let's get into some football games, that are actually happening, actually being played. And this one is one game that I think everybody looks forward to every year, right? And it's Army-Navy. It's one of the best games of the year. This is a bucket list game for me to get to attend at some point. This is meat and potatoes, smash mouth football, and there's nothing like Army-Navy. Tom, I'll start with you because Notre Dame played both of these teams. Let's get our preview kicked off here and what everyone should be watching for with the service academies this weekend.
Yeah. Well, we did play Navy this year. We played both Army and Navy last year. And what's so awesome is we got to play Navy, not to make this, I promise. We played Navy at MetLife Stadium and we played Army at Yankee Stadium in the same season. These teams are an awesome watch. I mean, if you ever get a chance to go to an Army-Navy game in your life, please do so. I mean, I don't care. Neutral fan, Army fan, Navy fan, whatever it might be. They're celebrating 250 years of American military heritage. I mean, we got to give it up for these boys, what they do on the field, but most importantly, off the field. Brian Newberry, what he's been able to do with this midshipman team, getting them signature wins this year over USF and Memphis, running the ball for nearly 300 yards a game. And Blake Horvath is a big reason why they've had so much success over the past couple of seasons. He's able to throw the ball through the air a little bit too. He's got 9 touchdown passes, 14 rushing, over 1,000 yards on the ground as a quarterback. And they have a really good, young, impressive man at the running back position. Plays more of like a swing type of back in Alex Techka, a guy who is a north-south type of player. He's very difficult to tackle. He's got red zone too. Braxton Woodson, another quarterback who runs the football. And my favorite player on Navy outside of Horvath is Eli Heidenreich. Oh, man, he made Christian Gray look like roasted chicken on a couple of plays last season at MetLife Stadium. This boy can play. He averages 20 yards per reception, 800 receiving yards, over 400 rushing yards. There's not many guys that can say that in college football. And defensively, they have a couple good players too. I think Landon Robinson has made some good plays, especially in the USF game this season. He was able to eat up some interior blockers. So basically, Navy is a team that loves to run the football, the triple option offense, sprinkle in some RPOs. And then you got Army. Army, who's a very similar team, but they've thrown the ball a little bit this season, more than normal. They're still the same type of team as Navy, but you got Cale Helms at quarterback, who is very similar to Blake Horvath in his strengths and weaknesses. He's got elite IQ, this guy. I mean, these guys are mentally tough, right? I mean, they could go through so much adversity. When I watched this team play Notre Dame last year, this team was down 49-7 and still played the game like it was 0-0. I mean, I think that's what makes Army so special. This guy's run for 15 touchdowns this year, and it's been a tough season for Army. They lost to a Tulsa team at West Point that really struggled this year, and they were unable to close that game late. And I think the key for them in this game, in order to beat Navy, they need to try to get a lead early, and you have to do that by containing Blake Horvath and containing Eli Heidenreich. Those are the two that you really have to look out for. I think if they're able to do that and learn how to close, they'll have a shot to win this game. Noah Short is a good player for them too. Brady Anderson, a couple guys who can catch the football. But I actually think Army has the slightly better defense of these two, which will make it very interesting when Navy's on the field with possession going up against Army's defense. Andon Thomas, Eric Ford, these guys are really good run stuffers. We did a feature this week on Andon Thomas. I love how the man carries himself in interviews. He's a really nice guy. And then you have the backline safeties in Casey Larkin and Gavin Shields, each with a pair of picks this season. They've done a really good job at, causing turnovers and making plays in critical moments of this game. All in all, for me, what is it? Navy -6, right? Is that still a line or has it changed? All right. So
it's still at 6 as of right
now. A little less than a touchdown. For me here, Navy has more experienced core starters. So I'm going to go with them here to win and cover, but it's not going to be like it was last year, right? Navy won 31-13. I think Army's going to keep it close. I just think Navy has more experience and slightly more talent, and this will be a good tune-up for them, right? They got a bowl game against Cincinnati coming up, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how they're able to take that next step. And Navy was ranked this year at one point, so good for the midshipmen, and I'm picking them to win this game.
Navy was in the thick of the American race the entire year, 9-2, 7-1 in conference play. I know. This is a very, very good football team. Line opened at 48.5. It is now at -6 in favor of the midshipmen. Over/under is at 38.5. Noah, the big game. Who do you got, Army or Navy?
Oh, this is going to be a good game, guys. Two teams with very similar styles, obviously predicated on running the football about 50, 60 times a game. Neither of these teams known for passing the ball, obviously, but I will say this. I think Navy's pass offense, and I know Thomas mentioned this a few times throughout the year, it's better than you usually expect for a team that runs this much option. Blake Horvath has has almost 1,400 yards passing, completes 62% of his passes. I mean, compare it to Cale Helms, the Army quarterback. It's not even comparison. He has 504 and it barely completes 50% of his passes. So, with Heidenreich, like Tom said, I think that's something that they could exploit as well. Although I do agree with Tom that I think Army has a better overall defense. They're 56 yardage wise in the FBS, whereas Navy is 92nd, and the Army defense only gives up 22.5 points per game. Where I think this game could be decided, however, is while both of these teams have similar offensive styles, in my opinion, this season Navy has been more efficient with finishing drives. Because if you compare their points per game offensively, guys, 23rd for Army compared to 31st, or excuse me, I got that totally wrong. 101st for Army, 23 points per game, and 31st for Navy, 32.5 points per game. So Navy has been a bit more efficient this season. However, I will say this: Army is the most disciplined team in the entire country. They're actually first for your penalty yards per game, guys, only 24.1%. Problem I have with Army as well in this game, they're not good on third down defensively. They give it 45%, 44.9 to be exact on the season. Whereas Navy converting on almost 50% of their third downs. And I think, guys, with two teams that are predicated on running the football right, ball control, stuff like that, if your defense can't get off the field on third down, I think that is going to be a big point in Navy's favor, and it's probably one of the main reasons why. In addition to Blake Horvath, I'm going to pick Navy to win this game. I do think it'll be close. I think the -6 is probably about right. I'm going to go Navy by 4.
Navy by 4 is the pick from Noah. I will hop on the midshipman train. I know we were talking about their records. I think you throw them out in this game, no matter what team is having the better season. It always feels like the other one is ready to pounce. Navy does lead the all-time series 63-55, and there have been 7 ties. Navy won last year 31-13. Their longest streak in this series was 14 wins from 2002 to 2015. Army's longest streak of wins in the series was 5 from 92 to 1996. So it is always a fun one when these two teams get together. We're all on the midshipmen, so that probably means Army is going to win the game. But this I'm really looking forward to, boys. So the 13th is the start of bowl season. There is the Army-Navy game at 2 o'clock, but we also have the HBCU National Championship game and our first game of FBS bowl season, and we are going to go rapid fire through all of them right now. So let's start with the Cricket Wireless Celebration Bowl in Atlanta, the HBCU National Title game, South Carolina State versus Prairie View A&M. Oh boy, I'll start with you on this one.
Wow. Well, no disrespect to either of these two teams, but I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about either of these teams. So, you know what? Just for the fact that every time I see their logo and I don't look real close, I think it looks like a South Carolina logo. I'm going to go with South Carolina State in this one, man. I think they're going to emulate some Gamecocks, pound it right up the middle, and they'll get the win.
Bulldogs is the pick from Noah. Tommy, what do you think?
South Carolina State.
SCSU always seems to be in this game. They have been for the past few years. I remember they upset Dion's Jackson State team a few years ago. Prairie View A&M, a really cool story. They've got a first-year head coach and coaching staff, and they've taken them from the bottom of the SWAC all the way to the Celebration Bowl. Give me Prairie View A&M. I'll be different on this one. All right, next up, the Bucked Up LA Bowl, Boise State versus Washington. Tom, I'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Washington here. Damon Williams has been great this year. Going with him.
Bucked Up LA Bowl, Noah, what do you like?
Well, there's not going to be anything bucked up about this game, guys, because I think it's been close. But I'm going to go with the Washington Huskies.
I will take Washington as well. This one's 8 p.m. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. So they're playing at the home of the Los Angeles Chargers. So those are all on December 13th. We go to Tuesday, December 16th. I know you're ready for this one, Noah. The IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. Troy versus Jacksonville State. IS4S Integrated Solutions for Systems, in case you were wondering. 9 p.m., a late one on ESPN down in Montgomery, Alabama. Noah, we'll start with you. Troy or Jacksonville State?
Well, guys, you know I love me some Cox, and I think they're going to come up big in this game. Jacksonville State, especially after they lost to the Kennesaw State Owls in the championship game.
They're reeling from that one. Tommy, who do you like?
You know what? I'm going to go with Troy here on this one. I know the meat and potatoes pick would be Jacksonville State because Cam Cook has 16 touchdowns, but I think sometimes things don't always work out that way. Give me Troy.
I will take the Troy as well, the Trojans in this one. We are on to Wednesday, December 17th, 5 o'clock, Camping World Stadium in Orlando, the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. This is a fun one. Old Dominion and South Florida. Noah, we'll go to you again, USF or ODU?
I actually haven't looked into this. Is Golesh coaching in this game?
Is Galesh coaching
I don't
the
think
bowl
so.
game? I don't think he is. Is not coaching. Well, not coaching a bowl game for Auburn. No shit, because they didn't make a bowl game. I don't think he is. I think he's already at Auburn. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's not going to affect my pick anyway. South Florida has been pretty impressive this season. Old Dominion has had a good season as well, but I've been really impressed with some of what I've seen from USF this season. So I'll take them to win this one.
Yeah, you still got the Cox on your mind. That's why you said
Yeah.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
I believe Old Dominion's quarterback announced he's going into the transfer portal. Not sure if he is playing in this game. Tom, ODU or USF?
I've been high on them all season. USF wins. They're playing in Florida, about 2 hours away from home.
Yeah, this is about essentially a home away from home game for the Bulls. I think they get it done in this one. Let's go to our next bowl game, the 68 Ventures Bowl. Louisiana versus Delaware. Delaware first year in the FBS, making a bowl game. Shout out to them. Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile, Alabama, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. Tom, Louisiana or the Blue Hens?
I like Louisiana in this one. Delaware is going through growing pains.
How about you, Noah? The Ragin' Cajuns or Delaware?
Well, I don't think Delaware will lay a goose egg in this game, but they're not going to win this game. Spirit of Joe Flacco will not be enough for them to get this win. The Ragin' Cajuns will prevail.
Ragin' Cajuns. I'm going to go with ULL as well. I think they're going to be too much for Delaware. Sunbelt is greater than the CAA, unfortunately. All right, let's go to our next one, the Xbox Bowl. I think this is a new bowl game down in Frisco, Texas, Arkansas State, and Missouri State. Shout out Missouri State, another first-year FBS team that are making their bowl debut Thursday, December 18th. For this one, 9 o'clock on ESPN2. Tom, let's go back to you. Missouri State or Arkansas State?
Missouri State will fall to Arkansas State in this one. Give me the Red Wolves.
Red Wolves for Tommy. Noah, what do you like?
Credit to Missouri State. They've had a great season this year, and I'm glad that they do get the chance to play in a bowl game. But their happiness is going to get the red ring of death in this game because Arkansas State will prevail.
Oh, it's a good one. That is a good one. Give me the Bears. I got a buddy that works in the athletic department at Missouri State, so give me Mo State in this one. Let's go to our next one. This was Friday, December 19th. Speaking of the Owls, it's the Myrtle Beach Bowl presented by Engine, Kennesaw State, and the MAC champion Western Michigan Broncos. 11 o'clock on ESPN, Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina. Noah, are the Owls going to get this one done?
Andy, I don't even know why you're asking. You already know who I'm going to pick. So, Western Michigan, you're in for it this game, man. The Owls are going to come out and kick your butt.
Tom, what do you like?
I like Kennesaw State. I like Amari Odom. You ever been to Myrtle Beach before? It's a great place to vacation.
Kennesaw State. I'll jump on the Owl train. Who? Kennesaw State. That's who. They are Myrtle Beach Bowl champions. All right. This one is also, we've got a couple games on Friday, the 19th. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. Memphis and NC State. Tom, who do you like? The Wolfpack or the Tigers?
Memphis is very familiar playing in Tampa, conference opponent with USF. Memphis will be victorious.
2:30 p.m. ESPN. Raymond James in Tampa. like Tom just said. Noah, who do you like?
I like the ceiling for Memphis better. They've had a couple of losses the last couple of weeks to fall to 8-4, but two of those were pretty close, and one of them was against Tulane, who just is in the CFP. So whereas NC State, I think they've just kind of been okay in a really struggling conference. So I'll pick Memphis.
Memphis. Give me NC State. I'll be different in this one. Give me the Wolfpack. There is a first-round college football playoff game on the 19th, but the next bowl game we are going to be getting into the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Washington State and Utah State, Albertson Stadium in Boise, Idaho. They're playing on the blue turf, boys. Noah, it's the Cougars, so I have to start with you. Cougars or the Aggies of Utah State?
Well, I hate to say this, guys, but Cougars' favorite thing to do sometimes is to get bent over, and that's what's going to happen to Washington State in this game. They're going to lose by 10.
Jesus, all right. The Cougars getting bent over. They did just lose their head coach, Jimmy Rogers, to Iowa State. Tom, do you agree, or do you think they have a chance in this game?
I don't know how to follow that one up. Cougar won't be quacking any ducks in this one. Give me Utah State.
Utah State. I will go with Utah State as well. The Battle Cattle. Monday, December 22nd, 2 p.m. on ESPN. You can catch that one. Tuesday, December 23rd, the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl. The Bush's Baked Beans are the sponsor of the Boca Raton Bowl. Louisville and Toledo out of the MAC. Flagler Credit Union Stadium in Boca Raton, 2 o'clock on ESPN. Noah, can the Rockets hang with the Cardinals?
You know what? I want to say yes, Andy, but I just remembered I picked Toledo for one of my locks of the week earlier in the season, and they lost. So I'm not picking them again because they pissed me off. Louisville Cardinals will win this game.
Louisville. Tommy, do you like the Rockets or the Cardinals?
Louisville wins with or without Miller Moss.
Give me Louisville as well. And, we bullied the Duke's Mayo Bowl into doing a Mayo bath. We need a baked beans bath for the winning head coach in this one. Try not to throw up while they do it. Let's go to the New Orleans Bowl, also on Tuesday, the 23rd, 5:30 at the Superdome, Caesars Superdome, Western Kentucky and Southern Miss. Noah, we'll go back to you on this one. Who do you like?
Oh, wow. Man, this is an interesting one. I will probably go with the Hilltoppers, but I think it'll be close. Spread is -4. I think that's about right. But they'll get over that hill and they'll get the win.
Tom, Western Kentucky or Southern Miss?
Hilltoppers will be hilltopping to victory.
One of the best helmets in college football. Give me Western Kentucky for sure. We got the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, UNLV in Ohio. This is in Frisco, Texas, 9 p.m. on the 23rd. Tom, the Running Rebs or the Bobcats of Ohio?
Yeah, I really don't like what's going on with UNLV right now, but I still think they're the better team here in this one.
UNLV is the pick. I think Ohio's coach got dismissed as well, or he's on under investigation. He's on leave for some potential violations. Noah, Rebs or Ohio?
Well, I hate to say this to the best team in the state of Ohio, but you're not going to win this game. UNLV will get it done.
UNLV, I like Anthony Calandria. I think he gets it done for Dan Mullen's team. Give me UNLV. Let's go Wednesday, December 24th. We've got some Christmas Eve football. The Sheraton Hawaii Bowl. Cal versus the Rainbow Warriors. This is a home game for the Bows. They're playing it at Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex in Honolulu, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Tom, can Hawaii take out Sagabatele and the Golden Bears in essentially a home game?
I think Cal wins by a field goal. Shout out to Reno Monteforte, former Notre Dame long snapper, now with Cal getting his shot. Shortest long snapper in FBS at 5'7" tall.
Big
Played
guy.
in Hawaii in the Polynesian Bowl as a long snapper, was an invite coming out of high school. Congratulations to Reno. Still going strong, finishing up year number 4. He's got one more year of eligibility. Give me Cal.
Hey, my brother-in-law is a former long snapper, so I'm all about the long snapping boys and propping them up. Noah, Cal, or Hawaii?
This is an interesting one. Both these teams, guys, actually coming off really impressive wins. Cal with a a win over ranked SMU last week, 38-35, and Hawaii beat I don't remember who they beat, but they beat them like 27-7 or something. They looked really good. So, uh, basically a home game, two pretty decent, evenly matched teams. But I guess I'll go with I want to go with Hawaii, but I just remembered I have a friend who's a really annoying Hawaii fan. So with that in mind, give me Cal.
All right, I'll take Hawaii because you took Cal. And I want to see the Japanese kicker one
Mhm.
last time. Let's go to our next one. Friday, December 26th, the Game Above Sports Bowl, Central Michigan and Northwestern. Let's all fucking point and laugh at Northwestern for a minute. Have fun at Ford Field, 1 p.m. on the 26th. Wildcats fans, don't ever think you're a serious fucking program again. Yeah, with playing your MAC opponent. You should go join the MAC. Joke. Noah, Central Michigan or Northwestern?
Mm. The fact that I'm actually debating this one is a sign of where Northwestern's program is. But give me Northwestern. I still think they can get it done.
Wildcats over the Chippewas. Tom, who do you got?
Say what you want about Northwestern. They are the best 500 team in the nation, the best 6-6 team. So the best of the mids will say, give me the nerds.
Ooh, the shiniest turd in the bowl, you say. All right, give me the Chippewas in this one, purely out of spite for Northwestern. I just hate their fans that think they're like any good. I mean, if Indiana, they're in trouble. Indiana hired a competent coach. You're about to be the losingest program of all time. Let's go to our next one, the Rate Bowl, New Mexico versus Minnesota, 4:30 p.m. Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, home of the Diamondbacks. Interesting venue here. Noah, New Mexico or the Golden Gophers?
I'm gonna go with New Mexico, guys. They're 9-3 this season, which that's a really surprising record. One of the top teams in the Mountain West Conference. Whereas Minnesota has just kind of been slightly above average, I'd say, but nothing special. Give me the Lobos.
Yep. Tom.
Ever been to Chase Field, guys? That's a fun ballpark to go to. They have a nice bar restaurant inside the stadium, which is awesome. I'm going to go with PJ Fleck here. I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Minnesota's the pick from Tom. I will be on the Lobos with Noah as well. They're 9-3. Jason Eck has done an incredible job his first year there. They thought they should have been in the Mountain West title game. They got left out, and I think they're going to prove here that they can play with the big boys. Remember, they beat UCLA earlier this year. They have a Big Ten win under their belt. Let's go to the Serve Pro First Responders Bowl. This one is also on the 26th, 8 p.m., ESPN, Ford Stadium, Dallas, Texas, FIU, and UTSA. Noah, the Roadrunners or FIU?
Oh, this is going to be another close game, but I'm probably going to go with UTSA for one main reason. Owen McCown, I think, is really solid, and he's kind of been under the radar because of how much UTSA has struggled. But guys, 27 touchdowns to 7 picks. This guy can play, so I think he can lead him to a win here over the Panthers.
Tom, Panthers or UTSA?
I go with Owen McCown and UTSA. They will be running to victory. Told he was not good enough to play at a Power 4 school. had to transfer out of Colorado onto UTSA, gets a bowl win.
Meep. I'm taking the Roadrunners in this one. Saturday, December 27th, the Go Bowling Military Bowl. Fitting. Pitt versus East Carolina. Tommy Boy, can ECU take out Pittsburgh?
They absolutely can. But, man. You know what? Pat Narduzzi's a loser, man. Give me ECU.
Give him the Pirates. Noah, what do you like?
Is Mason Heinchel playing?
I believe
Does
so.
anyone know that?
Should be.
If he hasn't opted out, I think he's really good, and I'll pick Pittsburgh. But I do agree with Tom about Narduzzi. But they can get this done.
Yeah, I agree. He's a fucking loser, but yeah, give me Pittsburgh. This is at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, 11 a.m. ESPN. East Carolina, I believe their head coach, who they were one of the top offenses in the country. Head coach is going back to Ole Miss to be the offensive coordinator there. So give me Pittsburgh. I think they get this one done. This is another one, boys. We got our Clemson and Penn State postseason matchup in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, man.
Oh, just what everybody predicted. Tom, I'll start with you because I think you should go to this game if you can. Clemson or Penn State?
Yeah, I've been invited by 2 people already to go to this game. The only problem is it's my future father-in-law's birthday.
Oh, no. So, bring him with.
Yeah, might be a nice birthday gift. Hey, you know what? Give me Clemson. I don't know if Klubnik's going to play. I don't care. I think Clemson's going to win, and Terry Smith will try to figure out what he's eating for lunch.
Noah, Nittany Lions or Tigers?
What do you guys know about the Bad Boy Mowers Bowl? One of the most prestigious bowls out there, guys. I don't know if you guys have heard this, by the way, but they've actually have a second name for it. It's called the Biggest Disappointment Bowl, which is what this game is, Clemson and Penn State. 2 teams that totally failed expectations, but they did both have decent streaks to end the season, so I don't know. I'll probably go with Clemson. At least they still have Dabo there. I have no idea what Terry Smith. What is your lunch? We don't know what he's all about, but I think Dabo can get it done.
Terry Smith apparently staying on the Penn State staff next year under Matt Campbell. 12 p.m. ABC Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Yeah, give me Clemson in this one too. I don't think Penn State's gonna have enough. I just don't trust them. We go from Yankee Stadium to Fenway. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl, UConn and Army, 2:15 on ESPN at Fenway Park in Boston, Mass. Noah, UConn or the Black Knights of Army?
Oh, UConn, I think. They've won 4 straight games, guys, against one of them against the ACC champs. 37-34 win against Duke 2 weeks ago. Wow. But yeah, I don't know. I think they have a more balanced offense. And they've just been a surprise team this year, guys. 9-3 for a team like UConn is amazing, considering they had that streak of like 2 years where they had 1 win or whatever the fuck it was. But yeah, give me them.
Jim Moore not coaching in the game. He is off at Colorado State, but I still believe they'll have Fagnano under center, and he's been incredible this year. Tom, UConn or Army?
Wow, just reading that the ACC accidentally CC'd Notre Dame on conference-wide emails related to recent communications. Wow. Anyway, give me UConn. I like their quarterback. He's only thrown, 1 interception all season long? Yeah, as much as I love Army and everything that they stand for, give me UConn.
Yeah, I think UConn will just be too much offensively for Army to hang with. Give me the Huskies in this one. But yeah, whoever sent those emails is getting fired. Way to go. Let's go. This is what's become one of the most popular bowls in bowl season, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Number 12, BYU. Number 22, Georgia Tech. I believe 6 live edible Pop-Tarts mascots at the bowl game this year. And this is what I love about these bowls. Have fun. Let's have fun with it. Have a good time. Noah, This is actually going to be a really fun matchup, I think. Can Georgia Tech take out BYU?
Can they? Yes. Will they? No, because the BYU Cougars are going to be bloodthirsty in this one after barely missing the CFP. Oh, and by the way, Georgia Tech has not looked good lately, guys. They have, lost 2 games. I don't know if it's in a row, but 2 games recently. I don't follow this poverty team in this program, but they lost to Pittsburgh and they lost to Georgia, and they're going to lose this game as well. And by the way, guys, hot take: blueberry Pop-Tarts are better than strawberry.
Oh, wow. I'm glad you felt strong enough to share such a hot take on the show. Really vulnerable of you. Tom, BYU or Georgia Tech?
I do want to congratulate Haynes King on winning ACC Offensive Player of the Year. Congrats to him. However, I'm not sure if he's playing yet in this game. BYU is not losing this game. They've only lost to Texas Tech all season long. They are, in my opinion, the second best team left out of the CFP, probably the team with the best resume left out of the CFP this season. They are going to win and wallop Georgia Tech.
Give me the Cougars in this game. I think they have more to play for. They're pissed off against GT. This is another good one, boys. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. The Red Hawks, Miami of Ohio, taking on Fresno State. Tom, who do you like in this MAC versus Mountain West matchup?
Give me some action. Big Ben's alma mater, Miami, Ohio, takes it home.
Noah, who do you like?
Well, guys, you know how you can't have some gin without some juice, as Snoop Dogg once said? You also can't have some meat without some potatoes, and that's what we're going to see from the Miami Red Hawks in this game. Give me the Red Hawks.
Oh, God.
The Red
Clip
Hawks
it.
Jesus. This one, shout out the CW Network, boys. 4:30 p.m. on the CW Arizona Stadium in Tucson. Just because I don't think I said it, Pop-Tarts Bowl is 3:30 on ABC, Camping World Stadium in Orlando. We're still on Saturday, December 27th, but we are getting down to it. We've got plenty of games. The 27th is going to be a fun one. The Isleta, New Mexico Bowl, North Texas versus San Diego State. Noah, did the Mean Green bounce back from that championship game loss at Tulane?
I think they will, because I still think North Texas is a very good team. They just ran into a Tulane team that was hungry and ready in that game, and a team that, in my opinion, deserved to make the CFP. But North Texas is still 11-2, guys. Still been one of the biggest surprises of the season. I do like the Aztecs as well, but I think North Texas will have just enough, probably to win it by like a touchdown or so.
North Texas is the pick. Tom, who do you like, UNT or the Aztecs of San Diego State?
Yeah, look, Mestemacher's got a bad taste in his mouth after throwing 3 picks in the title game. He won't do it this time. They're going to take care of business against San Diego State.
Yeah, give me the Mean Green as well. I think Mestemacher just won an award this week for best former walk-on. So hat tip to him. Nice. That one, New Mexico Bowl, 5:45 on ESPN, University Stadium in Albuquerque. That's fun to say, Albuquerque. Tax Slayer Gator Bowl is next. Missouri at number 19, Virginia. The Who's are reeling from that overtime loss. 7:30 p.m. on ABC in Jacksonville at Everbank Stadium. Tom, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl champion will be?
It will be Missouri winning again. Everbank Stadium is an awesome stadium to go to. 2 of us on the show have been there together.
It's correct.
Give me Mizzou.
Noah, you've been high on the Tigers all year. Do they finish strong?
I think they will, not only because I think they're, a respectable team. They went 8-4 this year and a pretty strong SEC. But also, guys, man, I was just not impressed whatsoever with Virginia in that Duke game. Your CFP hopes are on the line. You have the most advantageous matchup you possibly could have got in the ACC championship game, and you lose in overtime to a basketball school. I mean, with Manny Diaz at head coach. Come on, man. But Missouri will win this game.
Give me the Tigers as well. I think SEC is greater than ACC at this point. And then I know Virginia's going to have a bad taste in their mouth. We'll see how much it affects them if they come out slow, if they're kind of moping, how many guys are playing. But I think Missouri, this is a way for them to get a ranked win at the end of the year and feel good about themselves, take a step forward to next year. This is a very interesting one. The next one, the Kinder's Texas Bowl, LSU and Houston. I just say that because they're playing at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, 9:15 start. You are giving LSU fans and Houston fans all day to drink for this one. It's going to be an interesting one. Tom, Tigers or Cougars?
Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my!
Yeah.
Connor Wegman in Houston. He wins it for Houston. LSU continues to slide. You can't spell LSU without the letter L.
Noah, do you agree?
Oh, it's tough. I think Wakeman has had a good season, but he's got to cut down on the turnovers, guys. He has 7 interceptions in his last 4 games. That is not going to cut it, I think, in a bowl game like this. LSU, like the head coach said, it's like Pearl Harbor bombs away. Houston's going to drop some bombs on their heads in this game because they're not going to be able to stop Connor Wegman. He's going to throw 3 touchdowns. And LSU, they're going to take that L all the way to August.
LSU losing to Houston is the pick from all 3 of us. I am taking the Cougars as well. I don't think LSU really has much to play for. I just don't know how much they're going to care about this game. Monday, December 29th, the J-Lab Birmingham Bowl. Georgia Southern and App State. This was one of the games that had to be filled. App State's a 5-7 team that is jumping in and facing a conference rival in this bowl game. 2 p.m. Protective Stadium in Birmingham. Noah, does Georgia Southern get it done against the Mountaineers in App State?
Yes, they will. For one main reason. First of all, one of the best football names I've ever seen. J.C. French the Fourth. French are not going to be surrendering in this game because Georgia Southern is going to win.
Tom, App State or Georgia Southern?
Yeah, he'll have the Mountaineers speaking French after this one. Give me Georgia Southern.
I'll take Georgia Southern as well. It would be funny if App State does come in on short notice and win as a 5-7 team. I will say that. All right, let's go. Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Coastal Carolina and Louisiana Tech. Tuesday, December 30th, 2 p.m. on ESPN. Independence Stadium in Shreveport. Tom, we'll go back to you. Coastal or La Tech?
Riding that coastal wave, baby. Give me the Chanticleers.
Coastal, they are going to be without Coach Tim Beck, who they did let go, but they are playing the bowl game. Noah, you like the Bulldogs, Louisiana Tech, or the Chanticleers?
I like the Bulldogs in this one, as I usually do. Like you said, it's in Shreveport, so it's basically going to be a home game for them as well. And the Chanticleer fans, they will not be Chanticleering at the end of this one.
Give me La Tech as well. You're right. It is basically a home game for them. All right, here's a big one, boys. The Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl. Liberty, Liberty, Liberty. The Illini, and Tennessee are playing. There has been no announcements about opt-outs as far as U of I that I've seen yet. We've had a couple guys hit the portal, but they really weren't main pieces. Give me the Illini. Luke Altmaier goes out with a win over an SEC team. 5:30 p.m. ESPN Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Noah, I don't even want to talk to you about this one because I already saw your messages in the group. So I'm starting with Tom.
Look, I like what Josh Heupel's done with this SEC team, but Luke Altmaier is a better quarterback than Joey Aguilar. That's what it comes down to. I don't care that they're playing in Nashville. I think Illinois is going to win outright.
I love it. I love it. The basketball team just won in Nashville last weekend. The football, I think the wrestling team has a meet down there. The football team's going to take it over on the 30th. Noah, hit me with it. What's your pick?
Well, as much as I would love to troll you about in Illinois, Andy, You guys know I'm no fan of Tennessee. I live 5 minutes from the border, and these fans are some of the most annoying, loudmouth, arrogant, just horrible people you're ever gonna meet. And I'll tell you another thing that's horrible as well, guys. This Tennessee defense, it can get bowled over by a strong breeze. So, in Illinois, if Altmaier is playing, I think he could pick apart the secondary. Give me Illinois.
The Illini is the pick. Last year we got the viral Brett Bielema T-bar and made Shane Beamer shit his pants and have a meltdown. See what he gets with Josh Heupel this year. Let's go to the Valero Alamo Bowl, number 16 USC and TCU at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, 9 p.m. ESPN on the 30th. Noah, will go down to you. Southern Cal or the Horned Frogs?
Oh, another good matchup. I'm gonna go USC though. I think that I've been really impressed with their offense this season. TCU, I think, will keep it close. I think the -6 spread is about right, but I'm gonna pick the Trojans.
Trojans is the pick for Noah in this game and when he is meeting his Cougars. Tommy, we'll go to you.
Wow. That side was not about the game, by the way. Just to verify. I think TCU knocks them off due to opt-outs. I mean, Josh Hoover's been their starting quarterback for a couple of years now. I think TCU is, on the come up here. Give me the Horned Frogs.
TCU's the pick. I'll go USC. I trust Jaden Mayava a little bit more than Hoover, but I do like Hoover's game. They looked a little better to end the year as well. TCU's passing attack is legit, so USC's defense will have to watch out for that. Let's go to the ReliaQuest Bowl down in Tampa on the 31st, so New Year's Eve, 12 p.m. on ESPN. Raymond James down in Tampa. Like I said, the Iowa Hawkeyes, number 23 and number 14, Vanderbilt. Clark Lee taking his team down there. Tom, does Kirk Ferentz's team have enough to knock off Vandy?
No. I mean, Kirk Ferentz has been the head coach since 1998. What has changed since 1998, guys? A lot. But his football team hasn't. He has not evolved with the times. Vanderbilt is on the come up. I'm going with the SEC school here. I love Clark Lee. Hopefully Pavia plays. Might be his last college football game ever. Give him one last hurrah. Give me Vandy.
Yeah, I would hope Pavia plays. It feels like he's a gamer and he'd want to play in this game. I mean, it is a big game for Vanderbilt. It's New Year's Six Bowl. ReliaQuest, Noah, Iowa, or Vandy.
You know what, guys? I have to give Kirk Ferentz some credit. I don't. It's almost impressive in a way that you can be a head coach through 5 presidents, and your team still has absolutely no offense whatsoever to speak of. Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, Heisman finalist. Iowa has no offense to match them whatsoever. I don't even think this game will be a contest.
Yeah, give me Vandy as well. I think they run away with this one early. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, Arizona State and Duke. We have a devil on devil matchup here. The Sun Devils and the Blue Devils in the Sun Bowl. This one is in El Paso, 2 p.m. on CBS on the 31st. Noah, who do you like in this one? Do the ACC champions get a bowl win under their belt?
Oh, man. I will say yes. I think that was, as much as we might, joke about, how bad the tiebreakers are and the fact they might be ACC champs, they earned it. They deserve to win that game. And I think that'll give them a lot of momentum. And I've been really impressed with Mensa this season as well, guys. I think he's a really solid quarterback. So I will pick them to win this one. I think it'll be close, but I'll go Duke by 3.
Duke by 3. Tom, do you agree?
No. I think Kenny Dillingham is a top 25 coach in college football. I'm going to go with him here over Manny Diaz.
Dillingham over Diaz. The thing is, I just don't know if I trust Jeff Sims as their quarterback. That's the thing.
That's true.
Give me Duke in this one. But I love Love Kenny Dillingham. He tells it like it is. I think he's one of the best coaches in football at this point. Right with you there, Tom. We'll go to the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Number 13, Texas, and number 18, Michigan. Michigan interim head coach will be Biff Poggi. Let's see if maybe they just keep him. They'll hire him to the full-time job. 3 p.m. ABC in Orlando. Tom, we'll go to you here. Longhorns or Wolverines?
Do we even have to ask? One team's in turmoil, the other is not. Texas forever. Hook 'em.
Noah.
First of all, can I just say this? Whoever puts these bowl game names together, I don't know why you thought to put Cheez-It next to citrus and not something like Tropicana or something. Missed opportunity. But yeah, unfortunately, I think Michigan has had a respectable season, but they just fired their coach like 3 hours ago. They're going to be in turmoil. And Texas, I wouldn't say they've had a good season, but I think they've definitely been much better the second half of the season than the first. So give me Texas.
I'm right lockstep with you guys on this one. I think the Longhorns will be too much for Michigan in this game. Maybe Justice Haynes gets loose for a couple, but Arch at this point is a better quarterback than Bryce Underwood. And then with all the questions around the program right now, it's especially with all the news that is coming out, it will be hard for them, I would imagine, to keep their minds on this game. All right, let's go to our next one, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. Nebraska versus number 15, Utah. Tom, the Utes or the Cornhuskers?
Give me the Mormons here. Utah.
Yep. Noah.
The Cornhuskers will march into Las Vegas, and they will get a catch-22 in this one because they are going to get absolutely steamrolled by Utah.
Yeah, I think Utah wins, and it's not close. 3:30 p.m. on the 31st at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. All right, so let's go. We have 4 games left of our rapid fire. We're almost there, boys. The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, Texas State and Rice. This is Friday, January 2nd, 1 p.m. on ESPN in Fort Worth. Noah, the Bobcats or the Owls?
I will go with the Bobcats. The Owls were one of those 5-7 teams that they just kind of had to pick to fill up the ranks. I think Texas State has been respectable this season, but I almost called him Bo Jackson. Brad Jackson with over 3,000 passing yards this season. I think he can add on to that, and the Bobcats will win this game.
Awesome. Tommy, what do you like?
I mean, I just said a couple of games ago, Texas forever. Give me Texas State.
Texas State getting ready to join the new Pac-12. I think they do that in a big way here. They take the win over Rice. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Navy in Cincinnati. This is an interesting matchup. Not sure if Sorsby's playing or not. There's been a lot of smoke that he'll be one of the top quarterbacks if he chooses to enter the portal. They reportedly he's got offers from multiple schools for $4 million to come play quarterback there. Tom, Navy or the Bearcats?
I like the midshipmen here. They're going to have everybody most likely. Horvath, Teksha, Heidenreich. Hot take. Don't be shocked if Brennan Sorsby is the next Illinois starting quarterback.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Noah, what do you think? Navy or the Bearcats?
If Sorsby plays, I think it'll be close. But even if he does play, I'm going to pick Navy, guys. I think this is a really well coached, fundamentally sound team. I mean, they're not. You don't get to 9-2 in the American not knowing what you're doing. So give me Navy.
Yeah, I will take the midshipmen as well. Cincinnati had an all right year, but I don't think they were all that great, in my opinion. So that one's 4:30 on the 2nd. ESPN down at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis. Let's go to another big one, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Who's going to get the Mayo bath after the game? Mississippi State and Wake Forest. Noah, I'll start with you. Miss State or Wake Forest?
Well, look, congratulations to Mississippi State on making a bowl game. But again, one of these 5-7 teams, they're going up against a team that is 8-4. One of the better teams in a struggling ACC this year for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna pick Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. Tommy, do you agree?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I guess Wake Forest, question mark. I really don't know enough about them this year. The ACC has been horrendous, but 5-7 in the SEC doesn't finish 5-7 in the ACC, right? I think we could agree with that for the most part. So it's going to be a very close game, but I think Wake Forest edges it out.
Wake Forest is the pick. Give me Mississippi State in this one. I think they shock the world and they get a bath. Duke's Mayo bath. All right, we made it, fellas. This is our last game. The last bowl game is the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. Arizona and SMU, 8 p.m. on Fox, Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego, California on Friday the 2nd. Our last non-CFP bowl game. Noah, we'll go to you. I think this is actually this could be a really fun matchup.
I think this is two pretty evenly balanced teams with two really good quarterbacks as well. I could see it going both ways, but just my gut feeling, I'm probably leaning Arizona in this game. SMU, I mean, they had that loss to Cal, which I didn't think was a very good look. Whereas Arizona, let me check them out real quick. Yeah, they've won 5 in a row. I thought they were on a pretty good streak, and they are. And I think it will continue. Arizona will win, but it'll be close, probably like a field goal type of game.
Field goal type of game in this one to close us out. Tommy, do you like the Ponies or the Wildcats?
Ooh. Speaking of trust, I trust that SMU will upset Arizona here. I'm going to go the other way. I like what Rhett Lashley has done. I believe Kevin Jennings is still their quarterback. So I like what SMU did. Remember, they're a year removed from the CFP. So there is potential here for them to pull off this upset. And I think if Lashley does, he could be in contention for, a higher up coaching job moving forward.
Rhett Lashley leading the Mustangs to victory is the pick from Tom. I'm going to go with Noah again on this one. I like the Wildcats. I think Fafita has been playing some of the best football of his career as of late. Arizona, very good story in college football this year. That's a lot of bowl games, fellas. We made it through. Do you guys have a lock? Did you bring a lock for this week?
I come prepared.
Let's lock it up. Mine, I'll go first because it's going to lose Eli Heidenreich to score a touchdown plus 125. So I am not making anybody lose the game, but I guarantee you he won't score a touchdown now that I said he will. Tom, we'll go to you.
It's desperate when Andy Hopper is going for player props rather than straights or spreads. And I am tempted to pick Eli Heidenreich not to score a touchdown, but it's funny. My record is the exact opposite of Andy's this season, and I am going to go with Boise by at least 14 points. So I think Boise State loses the game to Washington by 14 points or less.
Washington by 14 is the Boise State covers.
State to cover
covers 14. Okay, I got you.
Will not lose by more than 14.
Noah, what do you got for me?
Oh, pretty simple, guys. KSU wins. And I'm not talking about Kansas State who opted out because they're lame. I'm talking about Kennesaw State.
Dude.
Hey, they got fined $500,000 for that, by the way, by the Big 12. Them and Iowa State, both.
Wow.
2 6-6 teams opt out because of their coaching situations. And yeah, they're going to pay the price for that. You better lock it up. That's our lock of the week. Hey, dude, we did this. We did like 36 bowl games, and we're less than 2 hours. I think we pat ourselves on the back for that one. This has been another awesome episode of the Tailgate Committee. Always a great time chopping it up with Tom Scavetta and Noah Dibler about this week's or what's happening in college football this week, I should say. My name is Andy Hopper. We will be back next week for our CFP preview. We're going to each fill out a bracket. We'll release that. We'll talk about the first round games and then whatever else might hit the fan or hit the news desk of college football. I'll remind you before we get out of here, Please like and subscribe on Facebook. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Comment, tell a friend, tell us what bowl games you're watching. Tell us your favorite bowl game. What's the best name out there right now? There's a lot of good ones, but I think what was it? God damn it. Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl might be my favorite. Just ridiculous. But like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're on Facebook and Instagram at the Tailgate Committee, and we're on Twitter at the Tailgate.com. For Tom Scavetta and Noah Dibler, my name is Andy Hopper. We thank you for joining us. Happy bowl season, everybody. We will see you next week.